I don't even like doing work when I was actually in real class, but I would do work on Bully in class. That's how fun it was. And then my number one, I can't believe you didn't say this, John, and you disrespected this game by not bringing this on your list.
The wrong house, fool!
Hey, Big Smoke, it's me, Carl. Chill.
CJ.
Welcome to the Voiceless podcast. We're here for another episode, and I'm your host, Meech. Down in Atlanta, we have the host, the co-host. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
The host with the most, the one, the only John Wiley. What's going on?
The one and only John Wiley. That's what we gonna call him from here on out now. The one and only. So I gotta come up with a nickname now, because every time I do this podcast, all these other co-hosts keep having these AKAs and these different nicknames. So I gotta get one now. So maybe when I cut a promo down the line, I'll come up with something. But
Ooh.
yeah, but we're gonna start off with the trending topics. What stood out to us this week in the world of wrestling, and we're gonna let John, the one and only, talk about NXT Portland. Since I wasn't able to check it out yet, I will make sure I check it out. But go ahead and let us know, what did you think of the show of NXT Portland?
Ooh, man. NXT Portland, man. This is probably one of the better takeovers, probably top 10, due to the fact just about almost every match on the card was fire. For a 3-hour show, it was pretty entertaining, and there wasn't really a lot of bad moments. And I'll start off with the matches that least interested me to ones that say they stole the show. And I'll start out with the opener, Keith Lee versus Dracovic. I can see why people like Keith Lee, because he's an athletic big man that does a lot of cool and interesting things that you would see Rey Mysterio and people do. And I think that's his really great specialty, and I really like it. Only thing I see in these matches that he kind of gasses out later on in the match, which I feel like that's kind of like a detriment to him. But I feel like they can be a good workaround by having him work shorter matches. Okay. And his opponent, Dracovic, I feel like he's pretty solid as a performer. I would like to see him in the main roster because I feel like he'd be a better foil to someone like Randy Orton. Or if not, a good tag partner for him. But we'll have to wait and see. Next match that I got to watch that was pretty good was Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano. Johnny Wrestling has come upon some hard times, man. He lost his title to Adam Cole, got jumped a bunch of times, then had to team up with his old tag partner. Then that didn't go so well with Tommaso Ciampa, and he's just been going through a loop, man. And he took another L going up against Finn Balor.
Okay.
But I will say this, though. They put on a good match. For 30 minutes, it was pretty good. They know how to tell a story in that ring.
I mean, I would expect that. Yeah, I would definitely expect that. Johnny Wrestling and then Finn Balor for sure. Yeah, they definitely both are great wrestlers and great storytellers in the ring.
Definitely two guys I want to look out for. I wish the best for Johnny Gargano. I hope they don't mess him up, because I feel like that can be the next guy, as in that's going to be the next guy the crowd can get behind. He probably might be the first of his kind, or the new Bret Hart, that people are going to stand behind when they want to have someone to cheer for when it comes up to the main roster. To move along, though, the next match that I really think was good was the Bruiserweights, a.k.a. Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, going up against the Undisputed Era with Bobby Shish and Kyle O'Reilly. This match was pretty good. I like the pairing of these two, which is Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle. I feel like these guys have a lot of good chemistry together, and I feel like they have two very good, unique wrestling styles. Like, preferably, though, I like to see matches with these guys, with these two going up against each other, but they're a tag. Makes it pretty cool.
Okay.
And I'm really surprised, though, that the Undisputed Era got dethroned here in this tag match in particular. And I'm noticing they've been losing title after title. Do you think that they might be going up to the main roster pretty soon.
Ooh, I mean, I hope so. I hope so. But here's the tough thing for me. Um, a lot of these, see, NXT to me is definitely the best brand right now. When I think of Raw, when I think of SmackDown, when I think of even AEW, I think NXT is the best brand in terms of storytelling, in terms of the competitors, in terms of the wrestling. The wrestling to me is just on a whole nother level compared to these other brands, as well as the storytelling. So when I see these great superstars, we can even talk about the women's division, but we're going to stick to the men's division. When we think of when they usually move up to the main roster, it tends to not have, they don't have the same uh like build up anymore, or the same type of characters. They seem like they kind of get derailed when they move up in roster, though I don't believe that will happen exactly. um but it's a tough thing. So I do want to see them on the main roster, but at the same time, it's like I hope that there's great writing put around them and great storylines put around them that could showcase how great they really are, just like how NXT showcases how great they are.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like the way you put it. I'm really down with that too. Because like I see them coming up to the main roster, I could see them being either the new NWO or an even better version of DX, or probably something that the wrestling community could really go for. I'm really down with it. Um, Go ahead.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So when you have these great factions or these great wrestlers, the main roster has to make sure that they continue that build up, like how they're being built up in NXT and how we look at them as being one of the best factions on NXT of all time, or even possibly one of the best factions of all time already. It's like for the undisputed, they need to continue to build them up when they do move them up. So either if they're on Raw or if they're on SmackDown, I would rather see them on Monday Night Raw. I feel like Monday Night Raw needs a great faction right now, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm tired of this Seth Rollins group. I'm sick and tired of this Seth Rollins group. Maybe that's their job, to make me tired of them because they're heel, but I don't know. I just don't really like the whole chemistry of the group. I like Seth Rollins. I like the individuals of the group, but it just seems like they were put together, and it just seems like that they were put together.
Yeah, like they kind of needed Buddy Murphy and AOP to do something, so let's put them together with Seth Rollins since he's not the champion anymore.
Exactly.
Personally, I like the idea of heel Rollins. I feel like maybe if it was executed a little bit better, it can be a lot more smoother. Because I thought this was going to be the second coming of the Shield, especially when you team him up with AOP, but it was not the case that way. So I feel you, man.
Exactly. So
Anyway,
make sure the undisputed has to be taken care of, and I want to see them on the main roster though.
definitely, definitely. All right, let me finish up a little bit of this card though. So now the next match though, because we're now getting into like the top three matches of the night. I'll say them in order the way I like them. Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Blair. Man, those two can put on a show. And they actually got me competently believing that, man, those are two strong women in the ring that can perform really well.
Definitely.
Yeah, and they were doing a lot of spots, and they're getting a really creative, especially with the turnbuckles. And I'm just like, to me, I'm in awe about how good of a performer Rhea Ripley is, because she does she does well, especially with her height, and she does well like with using her body and strength. I was really surprised when she can pick up and lift Bianca Blair like that.
And
Oh man.
not to you know, you know, cut you off while you're giving your analysis on NXT Portland, but I have to say this for the people: Bianca Blair to me is going to be an absolute superstar if taken care of when she moves up to the main roster. To me, when I see her, and of course Rhea Ripley as well, like Rhea Ripley is already getting that push, like she's gonna face Charlotte at WrestleMania. So, and she's on
Hmm.
NXT right now. She's not even on the main roster. She's already getting the privilege of facing Charlotte, which is gonna be a great match. But I'm just letting y'all know that Bianca Blair, be on the lookout for her. If they take care of her, she should be one of the best that will eventually move up to the main roster. That's just my early predictions.
Mm, I gotcha. Bianca Blair to me, I feel like I would like to see the belt on her instead of Becky Lynch. I feel like she would actually can carry that belt well and be really good with it. That's how I feel about her in general. And Rhea Ripley, I like her. I really want her to be like a heel, and I think she'd make a very dominant female wrestler in the ring. And I would like to see her go to SmackDown as well. I
Mm,
think she'd be really good there.
definitely, definitely.
And yeah, their match was a little bit on the short side, but I think they did pretty well for what the time they had to be done. Unfortunately, though, Bianca Blair did lose the match, unfortunately. But it wasn't that big because it was really the big thing about that match was Charlotte Flair showing up announcing that she's gonna face Rhea Ripley.
Was the match for the NXT Women's Championship?
Yes, yes, it was.
Oh, so that makes sense. So Bianca Blair couldn't win that match because that will just it will get in the way of the WrestleMania match. Um,
Yeah, unless they want to make it a triple threat, but
yeah,
I don't think that's gonna be shaping up that way.
yeah. Okay, so it makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. So all right, now let me get to the number two match of this, so then we can wrap it up. Adam Cole versus Tommaso Ciampa. Man, I really am a fan of Tommaso Ciampa. I might buy a T-shirt of that guy because yo, that dude is a pretty solid performer. Dude is tough as nails, and he kind of brings that brutality that reminds me of back of the ruthless aggression era.
Okay.
Every time he comes to the ring. Too bad he lost to Adam Cole though. But Adam Cole to me, I think, is the next big wrestler once he gets out of NXT. And Adam Cole and Tommaso Ciampa, I could watch those dudes do three more matches and it still wouldn't phase me. Really good match, solid all around.
Definitely early.
And they won.
Oh wait, go ahead.
Oh no! Go ahead, go for it, go for it.
Early predictions. I want to let the people know too, but this ain't really on a limb. This is just obviously this is probably how a lot of wrestling fans feel when Adam Cole moves up to the main roster. To me, he reminds me of like a Shawn Michaels, and to me, he can be that next big superstar that we're looking for to take over kind of like this generation of Monday Night Raw or SmackDown that can because right now I remember we talked about this kind of like off the podcast offline in a sense. We were talking about how it doesn't seem like this generation has that big superstar that each generation has. Like, of course, like back in the day you had Hulk Hogan, then you have in the Attitude Era you have The Rock, you have Stone Cold. Of course, you have so many other wrestlers, but those are the two biggest names. Then the Ruthless Aggression Era, you have John Cena, right? And you have Batista, but you got John Cena, that's the main guy. This era to me doesn't really have that main guy. So when I think of Adam Cole, I'm like, he can be that guy, but I'm like, of course, I think of him, but I also think of Velveteen Dream. But once again, it's up to the people who's on the main roster to make sure they build up these characters when they switch over from NXT to the main roster.
I agree. I feel like they've already gotten a better situation though, especially when they had the War Games going on, where at Survivor Series NXT stars were going up against WWE stars, and I feel like they already put them in a good showing that hey man, these NXT dudes aren't the step ups; they're actually here to show out and actually take over when the time comes. And
Yeah,
that's what I got to say about NXT stars now coming into the WWE or coming into like Raw and SmackDown.
yeah. Like if somehow the main roster doesn't get this one right with Adam Cole, it really makes no sense. He has a great faction around him. He's the star of the faction, the Undisputed Era. And then he's a great wrestler, a great talker. It's like, and then the fans is already around him with the Adam Cole baby, like the fans like they're with him. So it's like they have to get that one right when he does move up, and when the whole Undisputed Era moves up, they have to get that one right.
Definitely, I definitely agree. Because like I don't want them to come up like they did like the Viking War Raiders, where they're not even the same people no more. And when they got up there, it was like hard to even like get them. It was hard for anybody to get with them like that. I heard their chant was messed up, and then when I saw them perform live, it was like a lot of mixed messages and signals going on. And then they got their name changed the next week after. So
Mm.
I really do hope they get it right when they get there.
Okay. So, do you have any more final words on NXT Portland?
Oh, I forgot the best match of the show.
Oh, go ahead.
The best match of the show, in my opinion, was Dakota Kai versus Tegan Knox. I wasn't really too familiar with either of these two wrestlers, but man, when I watched them, they outperformed. It was a street fight that from entrance all the way up to the ring was utter chaos. These two were beating each other down from the ramp to the crowd to the guardrail, all the way up to the ring, and then the bell rang. Oh man, that was a good match.
Okay.
And and it just to me it shows how far women's wrestling has gone because they can now put on. They show me that they can legitimately put on any kind of match, no matter what it is. And I was just like, man, it doesn't matter. These people, these girls are pretty much superstars in their own right,
Mm,
and they're making waves for women's wrestling.
okay. Okay.
And I think that was the match of the night. To be honest, the only thing I could say was the ending was a little weird though because there was a interference from another female wrestler.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all I got to say about NXT Portland so far. I say 4.5 out of 5. Really good show, great watch. Go watch it if you got the WWE Network.
And I will make sure I go check that out. I'm a huge fan of NXT. I just gotta make more time to make sure I check out NXT Portland because anytime the NXT throw on shows like this, I already know it's gonna be an amazing show. Just the storylines is always built up great, and then the matches is always 5 stars. So, but we're gonna move on to what else stood out to us this week, and in pertaining to SmackDown. For me, I got to see SmackDown and, of course, Goldberg speared the Fiend. I'm a huge Goldberg fan, as everybody's coming to know. So I like the whole little build up, the storyline that's leading on to Super Showdown, which is actually on Thursday. So, and Goldberg gets to face the Fiend for the Universal title. The Fiend was trying to play mind games, and then the lights kind of go off, and then he's behind Goldberg when Goldberg's cutting a promo, and then Goldberg is like he's not phased at all, and then he spears the Fiend, and then he tries to spear the Fiend a second time, but then the lights go off again, and the Fiend disappears. And then Goldberg kind of like celebrates. So it looks like Goldberg leading into the match is the one that's looked like he has the upper hand, but we will soon get to our predictions for the Super Showdown. And another thing that also stood out to me this week, just briefly, the Bella Twins is being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Um, see, I've grown to like the Bella Twins. At first I didn't really know too much about them, but as I got back into wrestling and watching a lot, I got to see Nikki Bella and Brie Bella and their matches and things like that. The only question I have is, I wonder if I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that's not inducted into the Hall of Fame yet. So I'm wondering what was the why they kind of like rushed this for Bella Twins to be
Mm-hmm.
inducted into the Hall of Fame. But I'm not gonna ever, try to knock them or try to make it seem like they don't deserve it. But what do you come to think about it?
Honestly, I'm really questionable with them because to me, they kind of represented the things I didn't like about women's wrestling, which was they were divas, and when they were on screen, it wasn't the most pleasant thing to watch. And I'm not saying about their antics on going on the ring. I just don't think they were great performers in that right. But I guess they are deserving to be there though because they stuck it out for a while and they did put on some good matches.
Okay. Okay. Yep. So, and then, and of course, this was announced on SmackDown. So, and then the last thing that stood out to me for Friday Night SmackDown was Naomi she beat Carmella to get a title opportunity at Super Showdown against Bayley, in which we will give our predictions on as well who will come out as champion, SmackDown Women's Champion. I'm a huge Naomi fan, so anytime I see her get her just dues, actually I'm a fan of Carmella too. So, but Naomi pulled out the win, and it was to see who was going to face Bayley. Moving on, also the thing that stood out to me this week as well, from AEW, Cody Rhodes, his moonsault off the steel cage. One thing I just got to say about AEW, that I do appreciate is that they actually still bleed. Like the wrestlers, Cody Rhodes was bloody. He hit the moonsault off the steel cage. Something that you don't really see nowadays in the WWE, which is like the wrestlers actually being like bust open, like the blood showing. It just kind of gives you that more feel to it, like that realistic feel that like it, that they're being pushed to their limits. And anytime I see that, I'm just like, I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of it. So, but we're gonna move on to our Super Showdown predictions. Yeah, our Super Showdown predictions. So this Thursday is WWE Super Showdown. It came very quickly because right now WWE is promoting 3 events. Obviously, WrestleMania. We're on the road to WrestleMania. Then you got the Elimination Chamber. But this Thursday, we have Super Showdown. So we're going to predict like the main title matches. So beginning with Brock Lesnar and Ricochet for the WWE Championship. Give us your prediction, John.
Honestly, I'm gonna keep it real with you. This is gonna be a squash match, and I'm pretty sure Ricochet is probably gonna last probably 5 minutes in the ring, no interference, and yeah, it's not gonna last long.
I could see this match ending. Ricochet jumps off the top ropes. He gets caught in air. F5. End game right there. 3, 2, 1. The match is over. The match lasted 1 minute. Brock Lesnar is going into WrestleMania WWE champion. I don't know why people don't let's not try to get into these games. There's no way Ricochet is going to win this match. I'll be absolutely shocked. So we don't even have to talk about that too much because that match won't even be that long. So moving on to the other championship match, the Universal Championship match, Goldberg versus The Fiend. What do you think about that match?
I don't know about this one, man. I don't want to see Goldberg show up just to lose after, spearing The Fiend and him like kind of punking out at Friday Night SmackDown. I'm going to have to lean on Goldberg winning the title because I think that would make a much more interesting WrestleMania.
Okay, that's actually this one. This one is tough for me too. I don't know. I wouldn't understand why they would bring Goldberg back to lose. The only reason why I guess I can think why Goldberg would come back to lose is it helps builds up The Fiend a lot more. The Fiend gets a win against a Hall of Famer that everyone knows about, and then in turn, The Fiend becomes more. He gets built up more, and he becomes more known. For the I guess for like the fans that don't tune in every week, the fans that tune in to see the legends, they'll get to see The Fiend more because they're gonna watch Goldberg. So, but if I had to predict who's gonna win this match, I would like to see Goldberg win, but I'm gonna have to go with The Fiend. I don't think they're gonna have The Fiend lose at WWE Super Showdown. If he loses, it has to be on a bigger stage than that at like WrestleMania. So I'm gonna go with The Fiend, but I hope to see Goldberg win because just like you, I think it's a more interesting road to WrestleMania. But I'm gonna go with The Fiend, leaving Super Showdown Universal Champion. And what about the Raw Tag Team Championship match with Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy versus the Street Profits?
Now, I'm actually a pretty big fan of the Street Profits, especially when I saw their amazing ladder match in NXT. I'm gonna have to say, man, I like that group in particular. They got a really good vibe, and I really like the crowd interactions with these guys. I want them to win over what's up called Seth Rollins' group. And the main reasoning why is because I feel like Seth Rollins' group is not really well put together. And I feel like they just wanted to give guys airtime that is kind of deserved, but they kind of did it mishandledly. I really want to see them win the Street Profits win because I feel like they're a way more put together group, and I really like seeing them work together. And then with a title just helps the entire vibe they got going on.
Yeah, for me,
Uh,
oh, go ahead.
oh no, go for it, man. Go for it.
Yeah, for me, I'm gonna have to say that I believe the Street Profits will win this match. I believe they will defeat the champs and then walk out of Super Showdown, the Raw Tag Team Champions. My only thing I will say is I like the Street Profits, but at the same time, I just think sometimes they try to be too funny. Like I feel like when they cut their promos, sometimes I feel like they try to put too much energy. It doesn't seem as natural. Um,
Yeah,
it's like they're trying to force like to get that, like the Rock feel. I feel like they're trying to get the fans like behind them, but in not in a very authentic way. I feel like they could just improve with their promos. I feel like they're great communicators, they great talkers, but they don't have to be so like trying to drive home like getting that young audience. They be using like they be talking about get the smoke and all that stuff. They be using a lot of language that they're trying to get the young audiences behind them, but I feel like they can just do it in a more authentic way. It doesn't have to be super forced. But other than that, I like their ring ability. I like the energy that they bring. They just gotta, I feel like it's just a little bit they have to do to kind of improve their promos, like in terms of not forcing it. But other than that, I would definitely like to see them beat Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. I mean, I like Seth Rollins, but I just can't really see. I don't know what they're really gonna do if they did leave Super Showdown as tag team champions. Is Seth Rollins gonna be in a tag team match at WrestleMania? I guess, but yeah, I want to see the Street Profits win that match, and I believe they will win that match. Um,
mm-hmm.
yeah, and so moving on to the New Day versus The Miz and John Morrison for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
Now, as much as I like the New Day, I kind of want them to lose. The
Mm-hmm.
reason why I want them to lose is because I would like for Big E to get a different role and for him to just do a lot more by himself because the dude before he was a part of that group was actually a pretty solid performer. And he could talk a little bit on the mic, and he's only gotten better when he's with the New Day. So I would much love to see him go either a separate direction, especially with Xavier Woods being injured for so long. I
Mm-hmm.
would love for them to, for at least the Big E to go get some solo airtime and see how it does. Because if so, I might get a dream match. I would like to see either Keith Lee versus Big E or um, Big E versus Brock Lesnar. I That's what I really want to see.
Yeah, that actually will be a great match. Big E versus Brock Lesnar, or even against Keith Lee. I think both of those ideas are definitely great ideas and great matches. As far as the New Day versus The Miz and John Morrison, the New Day is walking in as the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Um, if I had to predict who's going to win this match, I would like to see The Miz and John Morrison win this match, especially John Morrison recently just returned back into the WWE. He needs a win like this. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna go with The Miz and John Morrison. I believe that they will win this match. Because like I said, John Morrison needs this win. He just returned and putting on like now they got the group back with him and The Miz. They definitely should walk out as SmackDown Tag Team Champions, and I believe they will. But I think it will lead up to at WrestleMania. It will be like this big tag team match with The Miz and John Morrison versus the New Day versus the Usos, possibly in like a tag team ladder match or something like that. And I believe The Miz and John Morrison will win this match. I have a little hint of doubt because the New Day is so loved by the fans. I can't really see them losing like this, but at the same time, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say The Miz and John Morrison is going to win this match because John Morrison needs this win. So we're going to move on to the last match, the last championship match we're going to predict for WWE Super Showdown, and that is between Bayley, who is the SmackDown Women's Champion, versus Naomi, who is the number one contender.
Unfortunately, this one I feel like that Naomi's not going to be walking out the winner. I feel like they have something bigger and better and planned and stored for Bayley, especially with the road to WrestleMania, especially with Bayley being a heel now. I think that this is not going to be the match to win for Naomi. So I'm gonna say Naomi is gonna go down probably within 9.5 minutes. What do you think?
I'm gonna say that I want Naomi to win. I like Bayley too, but just her this championship run to me hasn't been super exciting like that. And I'm a Bayley fan, and I actually like her heel turn as well. But I feel like we need something more exciting at this moment. However, with that being said, Bayley's going to win this match. Naomi will not walk out of WWE Super Showdown as the new SmackDown Women's Champion. I would like to see Bayley versus Sasha Banks. I keep saying this each podcast, I believe. I want to see that at WrestleMania. I want to see Bayley versus Sasha Banks. So I believe that it's possible that it can happen this year at this year's WrestleMania. So I believe Bayley will walk out as SmackDown Women's Champion. She will take out Naomi. And that will be it. But I do want to see Naomi get this opportunity again. I just don't know if the timing is right. Because if they do possibly think of putting the Bayley versus Sasha Banks match, then the timing would just be a little bit off for Naomi. But I definitely want to see her get the title back sooner than later.
I agree with you on that one, man. I really do.
Yeah, so now we're going to move on to the main topic for this week. So the main topics for this week is who should John Cena face at WrestleMania and who should The Undertaker face at WrestleMania. So starting off with John Cena. Yeah, so John Cena actually is making his comeback for this Friday night SmackDown. So he's coming back this week, this Friday. So we're going to end up seeing what his road to WrestleMania is going to look like. So let us know what you think his road to WrestleMania should look like.
Well, what I think his road to WrestleMania should look like, it's obviously this, man. I think he should go up against Roman Reigns. The reasoning why I pick Roman Reigns is that I never truly got that match. And I feel like it'll be a really great build-up. And on top of that, I really feel like John Cena versus Roman Reigns could be that match to pretty much be like the passing of the torch, in a sense, to be like, you know, the WWE's Iron Man, pretty much per se. Because Roman Reigns has been through a lot, and so far he's been through a lot of like bad injuries, and he's been through cancer, obviously, but he's still stuck it out through and been like a really solid performer coming back, especially after last year's WrestleMania against Drew McIntyre. And on top of that, I feel like John versus Roman would be a really solid match, hard to mess up, and I feel like they can put a stipulation on it too, maybe make it like a hardcore match or a tables match, and it could be an easy way. It could be an easy like WrestleMania match to watch, pretty much. What do you think?
I think that's actually a great idea. Now, I think it would be a little bit better if somehow you can get the Universal title put on John Cena or on Roman Reigns, so it could be a title match. Because if I want to see that match, I want to see it for a belt. I wouldn't just want to see it in a kind of like a regular one-on-one match. But I think that's a great idea, though. I think John Cena versus Roman Reigns is definitely a candidate that I will be happy with seeing at WrestleMania. Now, here's what I would say who I think John Cena should face at WrestleMania. I got two different options. The first option to me is the more realistic option. The more realistic option is John Cena versus The Fiend for the Universal title. And that is going off of if The Fiend beats Goldberg at Super Showdown. which I predict that he will. So then you put John Cena versus The Fiend at WrestleMania for the WWE Universal title. So that's the more realistic version of what I will see that they may do with John Cena. And I
Mm.
wouldn't mind it too much. I mean, I think it would be a good storyline, a good build up. Um, the match will be okay as well. But here's what I really want to see. Actually, I think your idea would be great though, if they was able to get the title put on either one of them. But here's what I actually want to see. This is another just WrestleMania dream match. I want to see John Cena versus Goldberg. I just think that would be interesting to see. The match once again doesn't have to last long. It just has to be a great hard hitting match. It got to be entertaining, and I just look forward to the promos and the build up to it. Goldberg, one of the greatest of all time, already a Hall of Famer, and one of the greatest of all time in WCW. And then you got John Cena, who's one of the greatest of all time in the WWE from the Ruthless Aggression era, and they never really had a chance to face each other. And you got two top baby faces versus each other, and I just think it will be I think it would just be a dream match, and I hope it will be able to live up to the hype.
Mm. All right, I'm with you on that one. I think that would be a really good matchup. I will tack on one more matchup I'd like to see, just because I pay attention to the wrestler talk going on. I would love for this match to happen, John Cena versus John Morrison, due to the fact John Morrison does not have some pleasant words for John Cena at
Mm,
all.
mm,
And it kind of extends to him and Roman Reigns as well. I would love to see that kind of come up and these two beefing the entire way to WrestleMania.
okay, yeah, that'd be interesting as well to see that. John Cena versus John Morrison. That actually would be a good match because John Cena is obviously a great competitor, and John Morrison is super athletic, great competitor as well. We'll definitely put on the show. What about who should face Undertaker at this year's WrestleMania?
Oh man. I think the best guy I say or best candidate I say should face Undertaker. That could be like a really cool match and a very cool Fiend match, like kind of like a underworld kind of match. Would have to be Aleister Black versus Undertaker, and they can make it a casket match.
Mm,
That is a match I'm really down with. If not, probably the man Sting coming back, especially with all this talk of wrestlers getting some really good medicine and good surgeries getting done to allow them to get back in the ring. I think that would be really good. What do you think?
Now, I think those are two good options as well. Like, of course, I'm always down with the Sting option. I've been predicting that will happen at this year's WrestleMania, and I hope that it happens at this year's WrestleMania. And then, of course, the Aleister Black um, match with the Undertaker. They both kind of have that dark theme as well. It will be the take of two great entrances, and you know, at WrestleMania, the entrances is always on another level. They always entertaining the fans for sure. Aleister Black, Undertaker, they both have this dark theme to them. I think that would be a great match too, as well. There's no way in the world I want to see Aleister Black beat The Undertaker, though, at WrestleMania. So whoever the writers is, if that match happens, make sure you do not disrespect The Undertaker like that. And that is coming from me. If you disrespect The Undertaker like that, I will make sure I cut a promo on you guys. There's no way I want to see Undertaker lose at WrestleMania again. I seen the Brock Lesnar beat Undertaker at WrestleMania, which was disrespectful, but okay, y'all did it. I had to get over it. And then y'all had Roman Reigns. Y'all had the nerve to have Roman Reigns beat The Undertaker. And I actually like Roman Reigns. So it's no way I want to see Aleister Black beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania, though. But I would like the match. Now, here's what I would say. I want to see the Sting match versus The Undertaker. I've been promoting this.
Mm.
I've been saying this. I've been predicting this. I hope I get the chance to see it. But if I don't get the chance to see it, here's my other option. I got one more option. I would like to see Undertaker face AJ Styles at WrestleMania.
Huh.
Because, and this is what I would say. AJ Styles, he reminds me of like a Shawn Michaels. anytime you put Undertaker in a match with someone who can wrestle that great, and in this case, AJ Styles is already he's already well known, he's already great. He can take a loss at WrestleMania and it won't do him any harm. It will actually this match will actually allow him to be built up even more because the storyline with Undertaker, who's a legend, and then AJ Styles gets a chance to be in possibly one of the greatest matches if they were able to connect and have that chemistry like I would expect them to have. I think the phenomenal one versus the phenom, the Undertaker, will be the name of the match, and it's just like you. To me, it's just AJ Styles. He needs someone to face at WrestleMania as well, and he doesn't need the win. He doesn't need the win against the Undertaker, and I think they'll actually put on a great show. I think that would be an interesting match to see. AJ Styles versus the Undertaker. Tell me what you think.
I see it. That's like a really good headline. You can put that right there on the billboard. The phenomenal one versus the phenom.
Yeah.
Right there, big and big bold letters. I like that. I like that a lot. That's a good idea. Because as I think about it, there's no one that on the roster that AJ Styles has not fought yet that you can be like, man, we can make this like a good match for him.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's an NXT star.
Mm.
But I think AJ Styles versus Undertaker is another good lock. That's really good.
Yeah, the reason why I think of AJ Styles is because like he doesn't need a win at WrestleMania, but he needs to be in some of these dream matches we want to see because he's that great of a competitor. And because Edge is facing Randy Orton at this year's WrestleMania, I would have wanted to see AJ Styles versus Edge, but Edge is already to me is locked in to face Randy Orton, so it's like who else can you put him against that he hasn't already faced that can also be built up and have a great storyline, have a bigger than life scenario? And it's like, that's the only one to me is The Undertaker. So if we can't see The Undertaker versus Sting, I want to see The Undertaker versus AJ Styles. And I just think it would be a great match.
Yeah. That or Stone Cold could come out of retirement and, do a match. One
Yeah,
of the two.
yeah, Stone Cold, and yeah, it's just like I mean, or even if CM Punk came out of retirement versus AJ Styles, now that's a 5-star match as well. Like I would want to see that if
Ooh, that's like every indie wrestler. I mean, every indie wrestler's fan dream right there to see that match happen.
and it has to be at like a big show like WrestleMania, but but we're gonna move on to our last topic for the day for this podcast. And we're going to switch over to something a little bit different that we haven't done so far. And we're going to talk a little bit about gaming. So, every now and again, we're going to talk about some gaming. A lot of times, we're going to talk wrestling, sports, and stuff like that. But today, we're going to rank our top Rockstar games for all of our gaming fans out there. So, tell us rank us your top Rockstar games.
Ah, man. Well, personally, my top 5 Rockstar games will have to go off the top of my head. Red Dead Redemption 1, that game was amazing. It was so good, I bought it twice. That's how good it was.
Bought it twice.
Oh, man. Oh, man, I can't tell you how much fun I had. Then I got the Undying Nightmare for it, which was just a great experience. Number 2 would have to be Bully. Bully was just Bully is just such a fun game that I wish like more people take the concept of as just like allowing people to be in the shoes of someone at that age and just allow them to go on all types of hijinks. Kind of like reminding me of like Ed, Edd n Eddy at the time. And I really do like that game because of the amount of freedom it had. Then number 3, it's gonna be Midnight Club Dub Edition. I wasn't really big into wrestling games, but that game is too much fun. And they pulled off a really good T-rated game, essentially a T-rated racing game in Los Angeles. The only gripes I have with that game, for a West Coast game, there's a lot of East Coast music in there. I think there's only like 2 songs by Snoop Dogg and an Ice Cube in it. And then to get to number 4, oh man, LA Noire. I think LA Noire is one of those underrated games that doesn't get enough love and attention because that game was the bones pretty much for, if I'm not mistaken, Max Payne and GTA 5. And it did a lot of crazy things, like actually letting you be a detective work, having a clear story, and on top of that, the game was really just really solid, man. I wish they made a sequel, but that's probably never going to happen. And for number 5, when it comes to Rockstar Games, I'm gonna say Red Dead Redemption 2. The only reason why I say 2 is because of the fact the story is just that good, but the gameplay is not so much because it feels like you're on rails. But the story is so good and the character of Arthur Morgan is so real. I just got to put it on there, man.
Okay. That's actually a really good list. That just showcases how great of a company Rockstar is. They got all these games. I remember my cousin playing Dub Edition all the time, Midnight Club, and I didn't even realize that was made by Rockstar. That just lets you know that their list of games is just on a whole nother level. But here's my list. I'm gonna start off with my number 5. My number 5, I'm gonna have to go with Grand Theft Auto Vice City. So back when I was a kid, that was probably one of the first Grand Theft Autos I played that I was really locked into. And so it's Grand Theft Auto Vice City. It's definitely, to me, it's a classic. And because it had to make the list for me because that's one of my first Grand Theft Autos that I ever played. I played Grand Theft Auto 3 as well, but I like Grand Theft Auto Vice City more. So Grand Theft Auto 3 will not make the list. My number 4, I will have to say, is GTA 5. The most recent Grand Theft Auto that came out, I like the 3 different characters story. I haven't beat the game yet, and actually I may start doing some gamer videos playing that game to get back on it and try to beat it. But GTA 5, I like that concept of having like the 3 different storylines or the 3 different main characters. My number 4. Now this game could be higher, or this is my number 3. Yeah, my number 3. This game could be higher on the list, but the other 2 are so great that I can't put it any higher than number 3, and that is The Warriors. The Warriors.
Oh,
Oh
snap,
my
man.
gosh.
I can't believe I forgot about that one. Oh,
The
shoot.
Warriors is one of the greatest games I've ever played, and I beat that game so many times. I think I've played that game with you many times. We played the storyline, and man, that's just one of the greatest storylines, and it's based upon the movie, and that's just one of the funnest games to ever play. And I may do some gamer videos with that too, so be on the lookout. I may have to buy that game and get my old Xbox back, the original Xbox, and play the Warriors.
Snap.
Yeah, so my number 2 on the list is the same game you had on your list as well, and that's Bully. Now, Bully is so underrated. That game is so underrated to me because they should already have a second one. They should already have a second one, or the second one should be on its way. How in the world have we not got a second version or the chapter 2 of Bully, or a second edition of Bully? Because that game is so fun. I recently just bought the game again because they have it for Xbox One now, and I'm about to do some streaming with that. And that game was just so fun. Like, you get to play somebody who's in high school, like, just like the whole storyline. You're at school, like, come on now, like that game is just too fun. And then you're actually in class as well. You're in class and you're doing work. Like, that's just fun. Like, I don't even like doing work when I was actually in real class, but I would do work on Bully in class. That's how fun it was. And then my number 1, I can't believe you didn't say this, John, and you disrespected this game by not bringing this on your list. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. San Andreas. You did not. CJ, come on now. Grove Street. CJ and Grove Street.
You're gonna get mad at me, but I never beat the game, and I didn't get enough time playing it. I own it. I should go finish it. I just never got my chance with it.
Man, I haven't. Well, I don't even know if I beat the game. Like,
it's just too much stuff to do. So I don't blame you. You can work out, customize your ride, customize your game. Games don't even get all that in one.
That's what I'm
Oh
saying.
man.
That's why Rockstar, man, I gotta give y'all props. Y'all actually put time into y'all games. Like you can do all this. I always remember. I used to always think when I was younger, I wanted to be someone who created games, and I was like, man, I want to create this game based upon life. And GTA or Rockstar Games is like that pretty much. Is pretty much based upon life in a sense. And San Andreas, man, CJ. Like, come on, man. That's a classic right there. That is a classic game. It's to me, it's the best Grand Theft Auto, and it's just like, man, it's just on a different level. And I remember playing that game so much, but I never really beat the storyline because just like you said, there's so much things you can do that I'll be too busy doing everything else. Like, man, just customizing my cars. Like, come on now, everything like that, and going to the gym. Man, and it was one of a kind at that time too, when it was
I
created.
I say that game was, yeah, man. I say that game was ahead of its time because there's a lot of things you still can't do in games that are coming out now,
Hmm.
and not even in GTA 5, which I'm finding that kind of crazy because I'm like, yo, you can create your own character, but you still can't hit the gym. That's wild to me, man.
Exactly. See, because nowadays a lot of people, man, I feel like nowadays, like they don't put as much, like not Rockstar in particular, but I would just say a lot of game companies, they don't put them as much time into like the games anymore, into creating the storyline or creating all the different options you can do. Like, don't make me get started with WWE 2K wrestling games. I will not buy a WWE 2K wrestling game. All the past wrestling games,
Ah,
the SmackDown versus Raws is way better than any of these recent WWE 2K wrestling games. Like I can't even like stress that
yo,
enough.
did I ever tell you that you couldn't play WWE 2K20 in 2020 because they forgot to program an extra year in the game?
Man, see that's like I seen a lot of people complaining about the most recent WWE 2K game that was created, and I was going to get it too because I was like, man, I finally get to make some gamer videos with wrestling games because I've always had wrestling games, as you know. I still got them, and I'm like, then I started seeing all the reviews, and I was like, no, why is this so bad? I'm like, I can't spend my money on this. I can't do that. So now I had to go back to the
Mm-mm-mm.
older games. So I'm gonna have to make gamer videos with the older SmackDown versus Raw games, or the SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, or whatever. The SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. Like I gotta go back to the classics. But yeah, like San Andreas, Bully, The Warriors, GTA 5, and Grand Theft Auto Vice City is my list of ranking our top Rockstar games. Rockstar, you are definitely one of the best gaming companies. I gotta give it to y'all for sure.
I
And
definitely agree.
yeah, so and before we cap off the show, we always have to say something to the people. This week I do not have a trivia question for you, John, because I'm cooking up something that's going to knock off that streak that you got. So I'm not going to ask you a question this week. Next week I'm coming even harder with a better question that I know you won't be able to answer. And then not only that, next week as well, we're going to start doing our promo, our cutting our promos, which is going to be a funny segment that we're adding to the podcast that I know people are going to enjoy. But before we leave off, go ahead and let us know what you would like to say to the people.
Hey, man, everybody out there, please go enjoy your weekend. Listen to your favorite album and listen to your favorite music and just have a good one and make it a special one. That's all I got to say for the day. And I'm out.
All right. And then my last words I would like to say to the people is just make sure that you're working hard, you're taking care of yourself, you're eating good, you're working out, you're focusing on your mental health, you're communicating with people. Anytime you're feeling alone, make sure you communicate with your loved ones. You're not in this alone. And make sure you check out the Voiceless podcast and see if we got any of these predictions correct on Super Showdown when we come back next week. And other than that, this is the Voiceless podcast. We will never be silent. Thank you for watching.